Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue and I am back for another Girlfriends review, y'all. This review is for episodes 3 and 4, so let's go ahead and get into it. Per usual, Lynn is using all the gas in Joan's car. Using, that's all she knows how to do at this point, even though she has 11 degrees. Tony has bought Joan some very expensive shoes that they saw one day when they were shopping together, but she's wearing the shoes. And I'm like, how are you gonna buy me something and then when I come in here, you got the damn shoes on? Yeah, that's not right. If they knew, I don't want your feet in them first. Like, give me that courtesy. Tony wants to know why they are waiting on Maya's late ass before they go to the club. Joan, of course, tells her, please stop hating on Maya. We like Maya. Please get over it. Child, Tony had them tits on go, okay? Like, head beams, a go. When Maya gets there, Joan and Lynn compliment Maya on this beautiful wrap that she's wearing. And she's like, I got it from Paris. I got it from Paris when I went there to learn how to talk French. And I kind of was annoyed with that as it pertains to writing because I'm like, I know a lot of ignorant ass people. Like, I know a lot of Ebonic speaking ignorant people when it comes to the English language. And listen, I feel like, you know, not knowing is not necessarily the worst thing because I feel like people have dialects. So it's not necessarily about that they don't know the language. It's just about the way they like to say the words. But saying that you went to France to learn how to talk French, I was just kind of like, yeah, no. Y'all know good and damn well nobody says that, okay? Most people say, I went to speak French, okay? Learn how to speak of the French, all right? But learn how to talk of the French, I was just kind of like, yeah, no. That irked me. I was like, I ain't never heard nobody say that. And then to hear Golden Brooks recite it in her very, you know, like Cali girl accent was just like, word. That's what they say. Tony doesn't believe that Maya has been to Paris because she sees Maya once again as Laurent and she hasn't been to France. So how has Maya gone to France? I'm like, you really need to get off your high horse. Like, please stop it. Just because you haven't done something doesn't mean that somebody else hasn't done it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I like how Joan was like, well, her husband works for the airline. They could have possibly went there. Free tickets, working at the airline. You know how that goes. And she was like, no, Joan. I was just like, I'm glad that Tony got slapped this episode because this part right here really annoyed me. Like, why do you think you're entitled to travel before Maya? You're from the country. She's from the city. Why are you better? Let us all know. So it's time for them to decide what clubs they're going to go to. Maya wants to go to Cream and Tony wants to go to Liquid City, all right? Maya says, look, Cream is popping and Liquid City is whack, but if y'all want to go there, fine, I can get us in there too. And Tony is like, how you gonna get us into Liquid City on Rodeo Drive, okay? This is not the gas station on Rodeo Drive, okay? And it's like, girl, you really gonna get over feeling like because somebody grew up in the inner city of Los Angeles versus growing up in Fresno, California. I'm sorry, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really annoying that you think you so much better than this girl because, you know, you came from the country to sell real estate. Like, ma'am, I've been in this city in LA my whole life. Why you think I wouldn't have contacts or people I know that work at clubs and stuff like that? Like, I'm from here. Like, child, please. It's so stupid. Joan and Lynn wanted to go to Cream, but because Maya wants to prove that Tony is just an asshole who doesn't know what she's talking about, she decides that they're going to go to Liquid City. So they go to Liquid City, all right? Tony's trying to get in. William's trying to get in. William has been sitting in the line for the past few weekends, so it might be his lucky night to get into the club. When Maya gets there, they walk to the front of the line, and apparently the bouncer is her cousin. So she's able to get them in, and Tony is like, wait, Joan, get me in. And she was like, I'm not the one with the connections, boo-boo. Ask Maya, okay? So she looks at Maya, and she's like, you know, Maya, let me in or whatever. She asked her, and she's like, all right, let her in. And when the bouncer points to Tony, some bald-head angry lady was like, oh, he was pointing at me. And Joan was like, actually, no, he was pointing at her. And she was like, look, nobody's talking to you, bitch. And it was like way too much angry energy off rip. Like, excuse me, bald-head hoe, calm down. You doing too much. Okay, as a fellow bald head hoe, before I let my hair grow out, you doing a lot. Your anger level is way too much for this Cisco style haircut. Like, chill out. Either way, Tony is tired of people trying her and thinking that because she fly and she got on Prada that these hoes can try her. The girl called her homegirls over and then they jumped Tony, and Joan is standing on the curb. Oh my God! Oh my God! When Lynn and Maya see what's going on, they jump too. Okay, they jump in. When the fight is over, Davis comes outside. He said he can't believe it was some black people out here fighting, and worse yet, black people he knows. Tony cannot believe that Joan just stood there while she was getting her ass beat. Like, she just kept saying, like, I'm your best friend, and I was getting my ass beat. And I was like, child, that's how I felt when my cousin just stood there and watched me get jumped. And me and my girlfriend out at the club. Didn't jump in, didn't do not a damn thing. She said she took somebody off. I was like, getting somebody off of us and helping is not the same thing. I'm sorry, I need you to help. Okay, child, we ain't never kicked it again ever since then because I felt like, bitch, you my cousin. You know what I'm saying? And you let this fight go down without you doing a fucking thing. Word? And it wasn't like I started the fight or I was out there being humbuggish. That bitch tried to fight me. So I understood where Tony was coming from. Joan just wants to keep running this respectability politics bullshit. Do we really need to give white folks another thing to say about us? And thought, girl, please. I don't even want to hear that. I'm grown and I don't handle things with fights. Ma'am, your friend was getting jumped by like 4 other girls. You was supposed to help, sis. That's just how this go. The next day at work, Tony shows up to thank Maya and she leaves before talking to Joan. So Joan comes out like, oh my God, Maya, didn't Tony know I was in there? And she was like, oh my God, Joan, I don't know, I'm not a mind reader. Like, sorry, it's one of my favorite parts. Joan goes screaming down the hallway after Tony, but Tony is gone and Maya wants her to stop before she embarrasses them in front of all of these white folk. Which is funny because that's the same idea behind why Joan didn't want to fight. I forgot to mention that Tony still doesn't believe that Maya went to France, even though Maya spoke fluent French to her before she walked away, talking about my cleaning lady speaks Spanish. That doesn't mean she's been to Spain. No, but it means she's probably from Mexico, which is another foreign country where they speak Spanish. Lord have mercy. When you ignore all of the historical content involved, child, it's called colonization. Joan goes to Davis's restaurant to cry to him about how all her girls are tripping on her right now and nobody cares about her because she didn't want to jump into the fight. And is she wrong? I'm an adult. I don't want to handle things with violence and blah, 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 blah. Davis is being a male chauvinist saying that that's why women shouldn't be fighting because y'all don't know how to handle it and all of that. I'm like, that ain't got nothing to do with all women. That's Joan's ass. Okay, calm down. Tony, Maya, and Lynn walk in and sit at the table that they all sit at when they come there. And she's like, oh my God, they're sitting at my table. Don't let them take my table, Davis. Child. Then she goes over and snatches Maya up and says that Tony only knows Maya through her, so she can't have her and Lynn. So she snatches her and brings her over to her table. Eventually, Maya convinces her to take her ass over there and talk to Tony. When she gets there, she's like, you know, go over there, Lynn. And Lynn was like, no, I'm cool. I can stay right here. And she was like, go over there, Lynn, and let me talk to her. And she was like, where was all of this rah-rah shit when we was getting jumped? I was like, right? To me, it seems as if Tony wanted Joan to beg her for them to get back cool. Because she was just like, you don't care about me anymore. You take everybody else's back but mine. And I'm just kind of like, this is so immature and ridiculous. And the way the argument ends with Joan just being like, I love you, Tony. You are the bitch I always wanted to be. I love you. I don't want to fight. I don't know why we're still friends, but we are. That should let you know that y'all friendship, may not necessarily be that strong if you don't know why you friends with somebody that will use you constantly and then act like you've never been there for them. Like, that shit is exhausting. But they kiss and make up and they back to being friends. But I think it's like one of the episodes that showed you the pattern that happens between Tony and Joan. Tony is allowed to run amok and disappoint Joan constantly and then blame Joan, and Joan has to come to her and apologize. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, yeah, I would have been mad at my friend for not jumping in a fight with me. But I also feel like they've been friends too long for you to let that stop y'all from being friends, And once she came to you to apologize and you gave her your ass to kiss because you want her to beg, like, That shit also, I felt like, was a mirror of what the rest of their relationship is like, with Joan always having to give so much more in order for Tony to give the little that she does give. So let's move on to episode 4. So Joan, Lynn, and Tony are going on dates with men that they met online. Maya and William think that it's desperate because in the 90s or the early 2000s, it was desperate for you to find relationships online. In 2020, not so much. It is like the main way that people, meet and hunch or whatever y'all do these days. But it's usually through somebody's direct messages. Joan says that she saw William on blackstuds.com and he says that's different. He's a man who's looking for a desperate woman. Oh, child, that says a lot right there. They go to Davis's restaurant. He calls them desperate too. And then Joan's date Marcus gets there first. Joan is being extremely corny, but that's Joan. Lucky for her, Marcus is corny as well. It turns out both of them have their friends there as backup. However, Marcus's friends were a whole bunch of buff-ass men. It was like 8 of them sitting at a table directly behind Joan and Marcus. I was just like, God damn, what you thought she was gonna do? Turn into Laura Croft and start kicking people in the face? Like, goddamn. Tony's man shows up. And he is chocolate and beautiful and rich and wanted to park his own Lamborghini because he did not trust the valet with it. Tony is turned off and covering up her titties, and we don't know why. When they get back to Joan's place, they find out that Lynn's old man is in prison, so that's why he didn't show up. But Tony tells them that the reason why she didn't want to date this black, beautiful millionaire because he was too dark. Apparently, she doesn't want to have a dark-complected child who will go through the things that she went through. Kids are going to have to go through shit no matter what. And trying to nitpick about their skin tone is just really sick, and we should get past that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I honestly would be happy with any variation of beautiful black skin that a child can be given coming from my womb, okay? But I also didn't grow up with this, dark-skinned lady complex, so I get it. But I also feel like it's still ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. It's ridiculous. I felt like Lynn and Maya. Like, power to the people, bitch. What is you talking about? You not that light bright your damn self. What are you saying? Joan goes over to Marcus's place and ends up looking through his room. He's got some nice records. He's got some nice books. She's liking what she's seeing. She trips on a dog figurine that he has at the end of his bed. That was weird. But she finds girdles, okay, some Spanx under his bed. He comes in and, he's like, what are you doing in here, Joan? She was like, oh, I was looking for the bathroom. And he was like, you could have looked for the room with the toilet in it. And she was like, oh, I know. He was like, oh, so what's that behind your back? She pulls out the girdle. He says, yes, he wears the girdle. So Joan runs for her life. When she gets to work the next day, he surprises her in her office. And when he stands up from behind the desk, he's not wearing the girdle. And we can see that this man has hips. And those hips don't lie. Joan doesn't know what to do or say, so she goes home to laugh about it with the girls. But Tony is still mad that they said that she's a self-hating black person. She compares Joan not liking Marcus's hips to Tony not wanting to date a dark-skinned man. And she's like, listen, I'm still going to go out with him. Even though I made fun of him, I'm still going to go out with him. So she does. Child, them hips was some wide, boy. I mean, wilding all on the outside in the most unnatural way possible. You could tell they must have put something on him in order for it to look like that. Because I'm like, even men with hips don't look like that. God damn. But Tony comes in and interrupts the conversation. And she sits down with Joan and explains how she feels about, not wanting to have a child with a man that's darker than her because she doesn't want to have a super dark baby because she doesn't want that child to have to go through what she went through, being called tar baby and all of those things. I think because the world also feels like that about dark skin is why it is such a terrible thing. And a hard thing to deal with in this world when you are dark complected and people want to remind you of that and make you feel less than. I just would like for everybody to realize that that is ridiculous. That is stupid. And having darker skin does not mean you are less attractive. To me, a lot of the times, darker skin is more beautiful because it comes along with this huge differentiation between really dark skin and really white teeth. And I'm a fan. Just saying. I've seen a lot of really dark people with really nice teeth. Really white, bright teeth. Okay, I'm just saying that doesn't mean anything. I've seen ugly people of every skin variation. I've seen somebody that is not attractive to moi. Okay, but at the end of the day, the overall statement that somebody, is gonna have a harder life because they're darker, I don't know if I feel like that's the truth, and I don't know if I feel like that should be a deciding factor in why you choose a mate. But she needs to grow her ass up. Okay, you need to get past that, because that's just, we know she's not gonna get past it, but still, I just kind of feel like that's just a trash ass mindset to have. How about you have a brown skinned baby and teach that little girl that she's black gold and her skin is beautiful and it protects her from the sun and it's like a reflective layer that other people may not necessarily be walking around with, that they don't have her same amount of melanin. Like, you supposed to make her feel special and counteract that bullshit. Okay? But anyway, William goes on a date with Yvonne at the end of the episode. He met Yvonne online. I forgot about that, child. Because Yvonne's ass is crazy. And we'll get into it, for the next 2 episodes. But I hope y'all are enjoying the Girlfriends reviews, oldie but goodie. I figured that it would be something fun for us to do because we were all very young when this show was out. So now that it's been put on Netflix and everybody can binge watch it and all of that, and some of us might even remember the episodes from when they first happened, we can have conversation about it in dialogue. You know what I'm saying? So I saw a lot of y'all were very happy about me deciding to do this. So yeah, y'all, I'll see y'all in the next one. Mwah.